Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back. So as you can see, today I'm going to be doing the last mood board from the ArtsyTrio. So this will be the last month that I'm a contributing kind of artist, if you like. I'll be stepping down after this one, and Marie Linda will be taking my place. So this is the mood board from Gina. So this is mood board number 24. Can you believe we've been doing this for 2 years now? Absolutely crazy. But anyway, I digress. So what I've done is I've taken some of the colours from the mood board that Gina has put together. So I've got, as you can see, I've got some blues, I've got kind of some oranges, I've got a corally colour. The only colour that I've added in my own suggestion is going to be green. So what I want to do is I want to create a kind of blocky painted background using those colours. I'm literally going to cover the entire of this 12 by 12 page in blocks of these colours. So what I'll do is I'll put some paint down on my mat and then I'll start creating the background. So the first thing I need to do, apart from have a sip of my coffee, is grab a paint mat, get some water, get some brushes, and then we'll be ready to start. Okay, so I've got my paint mat ready and I've got a brush. I'm using a fairly large brush today. So we're going to start off with the Americana Indian turquoise. So I've given it a shake up. So what I want to do is I'm just going to put, I'm going to do kind of a 5 block. So blue being one of those colours that it does kind of show through. But this was the sort of kind of blocky effect that I wanted to go with today. I want to leave kind of like the paintbrush marks as they are. And what I'll do is I'll come back later and add more blue on top. So it's going to be one of those ones where I'm going to be layering colours, drying them first, layering, and then coming back and adding colours on top. Doing what's commonly known as doing the dance, going back and forward, back and forward, back and forward onto the page, adding layers until I'm happy with the actual composition. So blue's there. I've not gessoed the page because I'm not really bothered about being able to manoeuvre all the paint. I want the paint to stay where it is, so we'll just have to take what we get this time. And by take what we've got, I basically mean what gets down on the page. That's it. I don't want to move it. So we're going to add some of the green. So I'll add some of the green there, some of the green there, and we'll add some of the green down there. Put a little bit of water on my brush. Should have dried it properly, really, but hey ho. I'll just add a little bit down there. That'll do. So this one's a little bit more translucent. I did shake it up, didn't I? That wasn't just binder I've put down. Let me dry that off and then I can always come back and add a bit more. Alright, so I'll just add a little bit more paint down onto that block there. I want it just a little bit more opaque. That's more like it. Just do a second coat. Okay. Likey now. Just making sure I dry the brush off this time. Right, so now we're going to come in with that orange. So we'll put a little bit there. A little bit there. Oh, a little bit. Oh, a lot of it. Just a tiny bit there. I did say I wanted it blocky. So now I'll start bringing out some lines. There we go. That's it. Alrighty, so yellow is always a translucent colour. Very, very seldom, unless you're using something like gouache, very seldom you'll get an opaque yellow in any kind of the mediums. So yellow I tend to use more as a kind of filler. Just dry that off. There we go. So I'll use that kind of in highlighty areas, because if you go over the blue you're going to get green. So, but this is just first set of layers really. Okay, so that'll do for the yellow for now. So did I mention, I don't think I did, usually I sit down for these kind of projects. I normally sit on my chair when I'm doing a project like this. I'm not today, I'm stood up. I've deliberately taken my chair away. Different angle, different perspective. Right, let's get some of that coral colour down. Have some of that up there. So we're going to be layering this. Actually, let's just leave it in those three places. I did dry the brush off, didn't I? There we go. Let's do a splodge over there as well. Maybe just break up a bit there. Lovely, so we've got a space there. So I'm going to come back in, I think, with that yellow and just extend the yellow out. There we go, that should do it. Just grab a smaller brush, one that's not dead. That'll do. By dead I mean gone stiff, because I've left it either out of the water and forgot to wash it, or okay, or just out of just sheer neglect, which a lot of my brushes are like that. Okay, so now we've got our full kind of background down. I'm going to come in with some white and break up those lines a little bit. So I'll get that dried off and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've put some white gesso down. I'm just using indigo blue white gesso. Just put a little on the mat. I'm just going to pick up on the sponge. This is a stencil called Particles. I'm just going to scrub over and then dot, just for texture. Stick some in the middle. Just like that. Actually, I could do with a bit more. Ooh. Let's just grab another brush, get some more out of the pot. Give that a bit of a stir, make sure I've got plenty. I don't think I washed the brush properly. Okay. Let's load up that sponge. That's better. And this is kind of going to be a bit of a grungy page, so I don't mind if it's not perfect circles. The watchword this year is embrace imperfection, so I'm bothered that it's not perfect. Not in the blooming slightest. That'll do. So that's just breaking up the background a little. Might even just add a bit up there as well. And maybe just a little bit down here. Just get a bit more of that paint. think that'll do. There we go. It's just all part of the layering process, so never bother with those sponges. Let's get some baby wipes just to clean my fingers. Okay, so we'll get that layer dried off, and then once I've cleaned my fingers, we'll get that layer cleaned off, and then dried off, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've got that dried off. I'm now bringing out this PBO acrylic paint pen. I've given it a shake up. This has actually got some glitter kind of like in the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start making some random marks on the page. And when the paint starts to run a bit dry, I'm just going to go back in and just replenish the pen. And I don't mind going over the top of all the other bits. Just making marks. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to come in and just add a few scribbles. Just around some of them circles, just because just to create a little bit of kind of visual interest just in that background. Okay, so we've done that, so I shall get that dried because it is paint after all. Now that that's dry, I have a white one, and I'm going to do a few kind of similar things on this one, just add in around the page some other detail. And again, as soon as it starts to dry out, we'll just add some more, just add a bit more pressure onto it, just to get it to expel more paint. And I think maybe up there a bit. Just a few clusters. And maybe a few more over there. Just seeing where I think it needs a few more. It's one of those processes where if you're not careful, I think that'll do. Right, let's get it dried. Lots of drying time today. Okay, so now all that's dried a bit, I want to add some lines. I'm going to make some, I'll do some more mark making. I've got an old hotel room key here, and I'm just going to put some, this is terracotta. It says trying to hold it up properly to the light. There we go, terracotta. Now the reason I've used terracotta is because we've got some kind of browny colours showing up here in these tiles here as well. So there was method in my sort of madness. And that didn't look like the binder was mixed properly, so let's just do it properly on the mat. There we go. That's the way. So let's start bringing in some, do some mark making, adding some lines. That's it, would help if I actually put a little bit of pressure on it, wouldn't it? trying to keep them vertical and horizontal, trying to avoid diagonally if I possibly can. Just to add a bit of variation in the background. It's a very, very busy background, but that was the whole point of doing this today, was to create a busy background with lots of kind of visual interest in there, because we ain't finished yet. We've still got more to go. That'll do, I think, for that. Alright, I'll just clean off. Oops. There we go. Clean that off. And clean up the rest of that paint. I'll get it dried. And then I'll be right back. That's all now dry. So I'm actually sat down now, properly. And I can finish my coffee off. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some scribbly text. So I've got one of those OHTO made in Japan. I want to call it a food ball pen because that's pretty much what people call them. Food ball, 1.5. Although I've never seen one with a different kind of sized nib or ball on it. So all I want to do is I want to add into here just some kind of illegible writing. So pretty much I'm just going to write along here. In this section here, I'm going to write the words, "Don't listen to your inner voice, it tells lies." So that's going to, it's going to go in there. So I'm going to just do it really kind of scrabbly. Like that. And then down here I'm going to put the words, "You'll always be your own worst critic." And then over here I'm going to write, I'm going to actually put swear word in there, so word of warning, but you might not be able to read it anyway. So I'm going to put, and it's the B word. So don't let they get you down. And then down here I'm going to put, I'm going to put the words, "Who wants to be normal? It's boring." And then down at the bottom I need another phrase, but at the top of my head I can't think of one. So let me just have a quick look at my list of amusing phrases and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to go with the old favourite. In my own defence, I was left unsupervised. There we go. So we've got scribbly writing in the back as well, but because that pen is specifically designed to write on acrylic on non-porous surfaces, you will need to dry, and it will take a little while to dry. So once again, heat gun. It never ceases to amaze me, even with the heat gun, how long it takes for that ink to dry with that pen. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is some stamping. Move that to one side again. So I've got some VersaFine ink, and I've got two little stamp sets from Indigo Blue. This one is crackle, so this gives us like a little bit of a crackle glaze effect. And this one is called the matrix, so this is numbers. It's just rows of numbers, just to give you a little bit of like texture in the background. They're only tiny, they're not very big at all. So all I'm going to do is just lightly stamp with these, just in different areas. That'll do for that one. So we'll take that one away, throw that up there, and then get the matrix one. I just have to double check that that's it, so that's the right way up. I don't want to be putting the numbers on upside down, do I? Or do I? Don't really think it makes any difference, to be honest. So literally just add in some detail with numbers, just around the page. And I am going to go over certain areas. So we've pretty much created a rather busy background, which is fine. You don't have to stop there if you don't want to. You can carry on going, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some more mark making. But this time, because we've got a lot of black that's just gone down on the top now, so I'm going to come back with some white. So let's have a look. Indigo blue, white gesso. So let me just get that lot dried off and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've put some more of that indigo blue white gesso on my paint mat there, and I'm just going to grab a lid from a little bottle, une petite bouteille, a little bottle, and then we're just going to go in and then just wherever it looks kind of darkish, just lighten it back up again. So there, there, down there, maybe there, cross over, have a separate one up there, maybe just kick off to one side, maybe just add another joining one there, and then another one down there, and then maybe just one across there. In fact, I'll have one down there as well, just up there for good measure, maybe there too, there. Yeah, happy with that. Right, so once again, get that dried off and then I'll be right back. Okay, I've put the journal away for the time being. So I have in front of me my stamping platform. This is the, is it the Tonic one? I don't know who made this one. Yeah, it is Tonic, I think, with Tim Holtz in mind. As you can see, I've got some watercolour cardstock here. If this is cotton rag cardstock, and I've got 3 butterfly stamps. The first big one here is the Big Butterfly 3 from Indigo Blue. Obviously, with it being Big Butterfly 3, as you can imagine, they do have 2 others, but these aren't them. These are 2 orphaned stamps. Now, by orphaned stamps, I mean I don't know where they came from. I haven't got the laminate anymore. I don't know where it is. And when I have an orphan stamp, I have a shoebox and I just throw the stamp into the shoebox, and occasionally I'll go in that shoebox and I'll pull out anything that looks like it could do with being used, if you like, if it's looking all sorry for itself or forlorn or neglected. But today I wanted a specific thing, so I went into the orphan box and found 2 butterfly stamps. Now that one doesn't even look like it's ever been used. That one looks like it has, but it's been cleaned. Now the reason I'm getting butterflies out is because Gina's mood board has a butterfly just there. We've got flowers as well, but there's a butterfly there, so I'm going to include butterflies on my project using the same ink, VersaFine. It's going to go onto the watercolor cardstock, and I'm going to try and ink up all three at the same time. I know I must be, and that one's not going to stick. I'm going to have to come back and do that one separate. It's been orphaned that long. I think the back has dried out. Okay. Oh, and that one's done the same. Okay. Yeah, that's the problem with orphan stamps. They tend to dry out if you haven't got them on a laminator or on the laminated sheet. So yeah, we'll tackle those again in a little while. But you get the general gist of what I'm doing. Thought I'd save a little bit of time, but hey ho. Now, as you can see, I've also got my stamp platform. I'm doing it to the side rather than from top to bottom, as most people do, mainly because if I do it side to side like this, I've at least got more room in which to show you what I'm doing. So, and I think I'm probably going to have to stand up again and just do some CPR on this one, because it doesn't seem to be taken in the middle. I might need just to have a look at the laminate and compare it to the laminate, just to see whether or not I'm trying to ink a space that doesn't exist, because it's likely. It is quite likely. Right, let's see. No, I don't think I'm going to get a better impression than that. Okay, let's take that off then, and then we're going to have to try a different approach to this. I might have to put some double-sided sticky tape or a tape runner on the back of that just to get it to stick. So let me just sort that out and get those two stamped, and then I'll be right back, because, you know, stamping you've seen a million times. Okay, in the words of Arnie, I'll be back. Okay, success. Did have to do CPR. There we go. So now we've got that, and then we've got those, that, and those. Okay. I want to get them dried, and then I'll be back with some colour. Okay, so I've got out my very, very inexpensive watercolours here. I mean, these are ridiculously cheap. So all I'm going to do is just get some clean water. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to just spritz the actual watercolour cardstock and just let the water flood a little bit, and then I'll just do the back as well. We got to get a proper spritzy bottle. That's it. That's going to hold that in place on my mat now anyway. That'll do nicely. Do the same thing for this. This is only kind of like worth doing if you've got watercolour cardstock. Don't try it on ordinary kind of cardstock, because it'll just pill. So all I'm going to do is just start dabbing down. This cardstock is cotton rag. I think I mentioned that before, so apologies if I'm repeating myself, but cotton rag is actually made from old cotton t-shirts. So it's old t-shirts that have been thrown away, disregarded, and the cotton's being rendered, torn down, and reused and remade into something that can be reused again. Right, so while that's still doing its thing, I'm going to grab some orange. Just mix it with that yellow. That's it. Because these will dry lighter. They will kind of diffuse a bit and dry lighter. But that's okay. Don't mind that. Let's get some more water. Not bothered about that, I've gone outside the lines either. As you've probably gathered. So I'm just brushing back. Okay. And then this time I'm going to bring in some blue. Mix up some nice blue. And the reason I'm not bothered about going outside the lines is because I'm going to cut them out. And no, not including the antenna. Don't even think it. Right, let's get that over brush. Clear water, and then I can just come back in and just tidy up the bits where I've gone over a little bit, just blend it slightly. Let's grab some of that blue on that one. There we go. Just kind of blend it out. I'm going to leave that one as it is. Just a tad darker blue, just right in that corner there. Just because there we go, that'll do. Okay, let me get these dried off. This is going to take a while. Okay, so now they're done and dry, I'm now going to be a glutton for punishment, and I'm going to cut them out. So yeah, not going to be very interesting for anybody really, watching somebody cut out butterflies. And again, something we've probably all seen a million times before. So I will go off, cut these out, and then I'll join you again in a little while. Okay, so I'm back with the dried main page and the 3 butterflies I now have cut out. So as you can see, those colours, even though they are fairly subtle or not as in your face as the other ones, do go rather nicely. So all I'm going to do is grab some glue, and I'm going to put some glue just down the middles. I'm not particularly bothered about sticking the full wing down because I do like the fact that there's a little bit of movement just in the tips. So I'm going to put that one just about there, and then later on, you see, if you want to, you can just have a peek underneath if it takes your fancy. So that one's going to go there, and then this one, blob there, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit on the tail, and that one I'm going to put about there. Really sweet little page. I just love the subtleness of the colours on these. Although the background looks like it's really, really busy and in your face, it's actually not. There we go. And then I think that one will have about there. Or maybe just a bit up there. You see that coral colour matches those two colours really lovely. The blue in the butterfly there feeds through to the blue there, and then the yellow feeds through there, and that orangey colour feeds through over there. So yeah, they're not as subtle as they first appeared when I was painting them, but they do kind of go all together. Right, so I'll put that away to dry. So I've got one last little thing to do. We need a sentiment, a little quotet. So I'm coming back in with my stamp press. I've got some more of the cotton rag watercolour paper, so we'll just whack that down over there. And then the stamp set that I've got is my journal phrases 1. And I'm going to do the follow your heart. That's going to be my quote for this art journal page. So like I said, this is the last ArtsyTrio collaboration for me. Like I said, I've done these projects for 2 years now with Gina and Bea, but now I think it's time to move on. It's turned into something that was a real pleasure to start off with, and now obviously it's become a bit of a thing where it's got to be done every month. I'm not enjoying it like I used to do. I just feel now like I'm beholden, that I have to do it rather than I want to do it. So yeah, I said I'd do it for 2 years, and then that's it. Time to follow my heart and move on to somewhere else. Pastures new, different projects, that kind of thing. Right, so now we've got that. The ink I just need to make sure is completely and utterly dry. Okay, now it's dry. I'm going to come in with my Deakin paper tearers, and I'm going to really just gently there we go, and then turn that round. Hold it as best you can. Actually, I've on the wrong side, haven't I? It should be the more deckly of the two. And then I'm going to just, as I'm tearing it, I'm moving my finger down just to make sure that it's not being pulled out from underneath. And I'm pulling into the ruler. It's just starting to move there, you see. There we go. And then just to finish off, about there, nice and fuzzy edged. And then the same thing about there. Perfect. Bring the journal page back in again, grab the glue, and then I'm going to pop that just so it's coming out from about there. And then I'm going to grab Stabilo All Pencil, and instead of using the black, I think I'm going to use the brown. And I'm just going to very gently colour the edge of the decal. Go back over where I think it's a bit light, and then I'm just going to grab a very small brush, some water, and then I'm just going to activate it. Just along the edge. It just gives it a little bit of a shadow without needing to be totally kind of in your face. And if you want to, you can just push it up just to kind of blend it out between the letters. So a little bit more water there. I think I'm pretty much done. There we go. So just for the last time then, again, I need to grab some glue and then just flip over the page. Grab the mood board, just so I can see what the inspiration was at a later date. And that was just the date for the challenge to go live, just so I didn't forget, because I do tend to print these off in advance. There we go. And then the last thing that I need to do, I think I've just got some ink just on the end of that page there. So I just want to sign and date this. So what I'll do is I'll put my signature over here. I'll just put my initials. And just do it my little reserve, and then I'll actually put the date on the back of it. So I think so 38/23. So there you go. So that is my art journal page based on Gina's mood board number 24. So that, like I said, is the last one for the ArtsyTrio for me. But don't forget, if you want to see what Bea or Gina has done using the mood board for the month, then I've popped a link in the description area below, or in the blog post below. So that's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget, you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.